Okay, thank you for joining. So what I wanted to do is talk about my front garden, and I'm so thrilled to see that it's waking up, that some of the plants that I thought were actually dead are not dead. And that's the thing with having sempervivum. Semperviva means like always alive or something like that. And you expect them to be hardy and they'll never die. Well, some do. And so what I've done is, oh, this one's so pretty. Look, it's waking up to the spring. I'm so happy. Everything is covered with pollen and my allergies are going like super nuts. But I did buy, at Lowe's and Home Depot, I bought some different plants. We've got some sempervivum. They should do fine and they should survive the winter. I also bought some different kinds of sedum, which you would consider like soft sedum. I'm going to treat them as if they're annuals. I do have a pot over here that's just full of soft sedum that died over the winter. So, I enjoyed them for the summer and the spring, and then I had to kind of let them go. Some people said, oh, bring them in, but I just don't think that's a practical thing for me to do. So what we'll do is I want to give you an idea what these look like now, and then I'm going to do some updates and some potting, and some of these have weeds in them that need weeded. Some of them have passed away over the winter, and I'm going to have to go in and take out the dead things and replace them with new things. And then over here is where I have my barrel, and around the base of it I planted some like leftover sedum that has some of which has survived. I do need to get the leaves out. I need to get some of the old daffodil stems out and things like that. I want to get everything out of this pot, save the things that have survived, get rid of the things that haven't, just get some new soil in here to bring the level back up. And then, so it was so beautiful when I had it. I'll post some pictures of what that looked like. And I swear one of the squirrels must keep that one succulent. He keeps pulling it out of the soil. So, there is I don't have a lot of animals, but some of the animals, I just they make me so angry. But yeah, so some of the sedum that's down here, I want to get some of the weeds out, but the sedum was placed here on purpose. Every time pieces of it fell, I just kind of threw them, hoping that they would root where they lay, kind of look intentional, but unintentional at the same time. I really like it when plants take off and they just absolutely look like they're happy and growing fast. I did want to come over here and look at some of these. So you'll see how some of these have died over the winter. Sempervivum are monocarpic, and also they don't like to be too wet. So there's a possibility that's what happened here. Some of these bloomed out and they died. And that's just that's the normal course of what sempervivums do. And I also see a little bit of rot. So, but the other sedums are pretty healthy. The other sempervivums are pretty healthy. These are a type of chick charm. I'm really excited they survived. I think some of these might be chick charms as well. I don't really even remember. One of the things I do when I plant out here is I do keep track, but I don't label them. I know that putting any plant out here is a risk, and I don't want to be too precious about it, and that's kind of how I feel. This plant was amazing when I bought it, and it shrunk over time. I guess it used up a lot of energy to throw out all these pups. I did at one point think that it was just going to bloom out, and I was prepared for that because it threw out so many pups. These are beautiful. I might pull some of these out, put them in different places, and I hope that they will get as big as the mother plant was when I originally bought it. I'm not sure what these are. These were kind of mounded when I bought them. They remain kind of mounded and fallen over. I think they're gorgeous. Its pot mate didn't make it. So it gives me space. I tried to root something else in there and they did work, sort of. But I wanted to get a close-up of this pot. This is so pretty. Yeah, once again, I think there's some chick charms in there. I'm not entirely sure what these are, but they did well and they are so gorgeous. And then these were, I'm pretty sure that these were just Lowe's hens and chicks. But they're doing so well that I can take some out and propagate them into some other pots. And then the other thing I did is I created a vignette over here. I am going to have to weed and get the leaves out. It's such a mess right now. I did have some sempervivum up here that didn't make it, but one cluster did, and that is amazing. But it gives me space for more. I have some sedum that I bought, and these I think are called lemon lime or something like that, and they're so highly variegated that it is incredible. I'm not sure which ones these are, and then these look like weeds, so we can get the weeds out and add more sedum. One of the things I wanted to show you is I did put some sempervivum over here, and the fact that they don't get full sun all day long, they get sun and then they get shade, has been really helpful to them. But also, the way that the edges on these look, they look chewed. And honestly, I think my darn squirrels are doing that. So we'll see. The other thing I have to be careful about is I saw giant wolf spiders living in the cocoa core, so we'll just be careful with that. And then once I have everything nice and weeded and looking good, I'll be able to give you guys an update. I'm really happy that this has survived. I do see some weeds in that pot as well. That is a type of sedum. And sedum can often die back during the winter and come back in the spring and summer and grow lush again. So, there's this pot over here. It was out front, and I think I might leave it over here, but I'm going to do a little bit of decision making and weeding on that as well. And we can get a look on that. Get out all these leaves. Put my gloves on, do some weeding, get the leaves out, make some decisions. And we'll be able to come back later and show you how all this looks. Okay, so I just want to get a little bit of footage of the plants that I bought and what is going to be going into the garden soon. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a before and after kind of look. I have a couple more things coming, but really not like much at all. So I wanted to give you a view of what's going in. I did clean up some of the pots. I have to get all the helicopters out of that pot. I was thinking that the pot back there with the mound in it, I could repurpose that pot and move some of the plants into the bigger pot. So the barrel is empty, and that's ready to be filled with whatever I decide. Some of these have plants in them that they survived but didn't really do that well over the winter. I can consolidate some of them. I can clean them up a little bit. And I have plenty of material now. And I'm going to go ahead and start doing a little bit of work out here today. It's very sunny. I'm going to get pretty hot. Hopefully I don't get burned. And then we will show you what that looks like. Okay. So I finished the actual planting. You can probably see there's a little bit of cleanup I probably still want to do. We're in the spring and leaves are still dropping, seeds are blowing around. But yeah, I got the things planted in the pots where I wanted them to be. This pot right here looks like a hot mess, but I just got them yesterday and I put them in the pots today. And so we'll see what happens to them. This is a planter that I've had for quite a long time, and it's doing great. I probably should thin it out a little bit and move them around. It's something I may do in the future. These the same. They've been in here for a while. I see a weed I'd like to pull out, so bear with me here. Just grab that. One of the things that you don't want to do is let the weeds proliferate, because some of those are tree seeds. This pot is, hanging in there, and I'm not going to make any changes to it right now. It survived the winter, and I'm pretty happy. This pot will need to be I'll probably take some more off of the mound and put them over into the empty spot, thin out that a little bit and give it a little bit more. This is a new pot right here with, it's got some new items and a lot of old items. I pulled most of that out of the barrel and put them in here to just kind of give it, a new place to live. So that back there, the burgundy, that's coming along really nicely. So when I first bought the Semp itself, it was huge. It was the biggest one I had ever seen. And then it kind of shrunk. But it threw out all these little babies all around it, and those babies are growing. So it's I might pull one or two of those out and put them in a different pot. Maybe I'll put them in the pot next to it. And but I like watching how they grow and develop. Yeah, this is a pot of my newer Semps from, I think I got those from Lowe's. And we're going to have them grow in this pot for a little while and see how they do. Next to that is some older ones. They look a little sparse, but they look like they're bouncing back, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then we'll kind of look at that pot. Okay. I do have to do some cleanup around this pot because I like the look of, we escaped and we're growing and all of that. And then this is the barrel. This is what I did with the barrel this year. I took everything out and I replaced it with new stuff. The portulaca, when I bought them, were not blooming, and they are blooming now, so that's just gorgeous. So they should have some red ones, which you can see are already blooming, and then I should have some pink ones. I bought the ones with buds on them because I just couldn't wait to see them bloom. And then the big pots full of hens and chicks. I didn't separate them. I always buy them with the intention of separating them, but I just threw them right there. So they make these really big, pretty mounds. And then, over time we'll see how they develop. We may have some that bloom out, and then we'll have pups that I could pull off and put in other pots. So it could be an evolution over time. But yeah, this is what the pot looks like right now. And I'm just really happy with it. Of course, I am being buzzed by bees, which of course I hate. And then this pot over here, which is it's hanging in there. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's kind of my sedum pot, which I absolutely love because some beautiful variegated sedum in here. Hopefully we'll have a sea of it. I put one of these sedums from the barrel in here to just kind of give it some extra interest. I do have to clean up the leaves. They're kind of messy looking. I just didn't feel like doing that yesterday. It was really hot. And then, we've got some Semps down here that are growing, and they look a little chewed. I just think that's really interesting. So we do have squirrels around here. And in any time when it's a little bit hot and dry, they will eat the leaves on some of the sempervivums and get their water that way. So I try to leave water out for the squirrels so that they don't do that. But, that's the risk. It's the risk of being outside. You get leaves, you get bugs, you get squirrels, you get pests. Luckily the deer don't eat them, but I really do have squirrel issues. So I just wanted to show you that. I have one more pot, and, oh my God. This is footage I might cut. I don't know. This pot is, an afterthought, and we'll see what happens with that. Sorry, there was a bee. I am bee phobic, so if a bee buzzes me, I'm trying not to scream, but I may involuntarily jerk a little bit. So I'm just going to take another little flyby. Just get a look at how these guys are going. There's a lot of debris out here. Some of that'll blow away, some of that'll clean up. But I just, I've got time. And yeah, of course, right there. There's the bee. There's the bee looking for a home. I do kind of want to look at this particular pot right here because that's got some sweet potato vines. It's got some coleus, and it's kind of an experimental pot. So it's a little bit different from some of the other pots that I have. Like this pot here I have full of what would be considered soft succulents. I use them as like annuals. And so they will be here for the year and they will die back over the winter. But during our summers here, they will be beautiful. They'll get full sun all day long and they'll just be really incredible to look at. Yeah, so let's just go back over here. You see how nature torments me with the bees. And let's just get kind of a view. And then I'm going back in the house because I just, he's making me really stressed out. But happy spring, everyone. From my house to yours. Thank you for joining.